Well, welcome to our cooking class this evening. We're doing Meat-Free Monday. I'm going to be making a red pesto and also a lentil bolognese, and then showing you how you can cook spaghetti in your thermo server while the bolognese is cooking. So we'll just get straight into it. First of all, I'm going to make the red pesto because then you don't need to clean the bowl while you go on to make the bolognese. So, and this is very easy. The first thing it says to do is to weigh your oil, which I've already done. So I'm skipping through that step. And then it asks us to put the Parmesan cheese in. Now, just a note, when you're grating Parmesan cheese, it's a really good idea to cut it quite small so that you're not putting pressure on the blades over time. So, and if you wanted to make this vegan, don't put the Parmesan cheese in. You can either just leave it out, or if you want that flavor in it, you can add some nutritional yeast flakes or get like a bio cheese kind of replacement, but it doesn't actually have to be in there if you don't want it. So that's milling for 9 seconds, and I also put in the garlic. Sorry, while I was talking, I put in clove of garlic as well, so that's mixing up with the cheese. So now the recipe asks for pine nuts. I'm actually going to use cashews because that's my preference. Pine nuts and cashews, and also sunflower seeds, I find pretty interchangeable depending on the recipe. So that's what I'm using today because I have a giant bag of cashews. So I like to use that. And then our sun-dried tomatoes, which is going to make us a nice red pesto. That just goes in. And we're going to chop that all up. Just 10 seconds. We're going to scrape it down, and then we're going to add the oil slowly drizzling in. But I'll show you what we have so far. So it looks like a very dry mix at the moment. It's probably pretty good depending on what you're wanting to do with this. So for the bolognese, it probably would be fine, but I'm going to complete the recipe and make the proper pesto with the oil, and it's going to emulsify in nicely. So it's telling me to turn to speed 4, and then while it's going, it wants me to slowly pour the oil in. Oh, I was too slow. The 30 seconds is up. So basically, to slowly pour, I don't know if you saw me doing, but every now and then I just lift up the MC a bit. You can see it kind of goes up and down. If you lift it up, that oil has more of a gap to get in, but it's gone in pretty well, actually. That looks a bit better. So it's just kind of mixed around a lot nicer than if we had have just dumped it all in at once. So that is our pesto. That's how quick it is. And it just says transfer to a container, keep in the fridge for as long as you need it. But obviously, because of the oil in it, it will stay fresh for a little bit. But the fresher the better, I think. So yeah, nice and easy. Just scraping it all out. Now, because I'm going to go on and make the lentil bolognese, I'm not going to bother cleaning my bowl, so I don't need to worry too much about scraping it all out, but I'll just show you what we have. How beautiful. Red pesto. So, and I don't think we'll use all of this, so I'll be able to have some left over to do something else with tomorrow. So you can just even just stir it through pasta or use it as a dip. You could put it on pastry. It'll be nice. Okay, so now I'm going into the lentil bolognese recipe. This is, I know there's a lot of skeptics for this one, but it really is, it has a great result, and it has fooled a lot of people into thinking it's a normal meat bolognese. So, and it is completely vegan. Obviously, you can sprinkle cheese on at the end if you want to, but if you leave the recipe the way it is, it's a vegan recipe. So first step is to put in some onion. And I had just quartered that, and a celery stick going in. Here's where you could add other veggies as well. Sometimes I add capsicum and zucchini, mushrooms, whatever. Just for tonight, I'm following the recipe as it is, but ordinarily it all goes in. And you can just do whatever. So then I've got 3 cloves of garlic and 3 sprigs of parsley. Now a sprig, a lot of people ask me this, what's a sprig? A sprig is 1 stick's worth. So if you get a stick of parsley and take off all the leaves from that one stick that's about that tall, that's a sprig's worth of parsley leaves. But when recipes say parsley, oftentimes they're saying that to be basic and easy for the person who's cooking. So if you want to use other herbs, you can. So tonight, because my oregano bush is going crazy, and I've also got fresh basil growing. So I've put in a mixture of oregano, basil, and parsley. But if you had to go out and buy the herbs, I would just buy the parsley because you're wanting to save money as well. So it's whatever you've got. And now we're putting in some dried herbs. So I've got some thyme and oregano. And it says optional, some chili flakes. My daughter will not like chili flakes, so I leave that out. And drizzle in 40 grams of olive oil. So I don't know if you can see very well, but anytime you're needing to add a recipe that requires scales, on the right side, it tells you how much to put in, and on the left, you can watch and see how much is going in while you're adding it. So, and the TM6 scales go in 1 gram increments to make it super easy. Okay, it tells me when to put the lid on. So that goes on. And we're going to go up to speed 7, as it says here, for 3 seconds. Nice and quick to chop all of our onions, celery, herbs, garlic, everything that was in there. If you wanted it chunkier, some people like bigger pieces of onion. You could do it on a lower speed, like speed 4 or 5 or even 6. But for this recipe, we wanted it minced nicely, which is why we went to 7, so you can see how fine it is. Now this time we are cooking, and it is asking us to put the simmer basket on. So anytime you're cooking above 95 degrees, it will ask you to put the simmer basket on, and it just wants you to put it on top there. And off we go. So that is going to cook for 3 minutes. So now would be the time for me to go get my water boiling so that I can cook the spaghetti. So for a lot of people, that means getting the kettle on, but I actually use a Thermomix as a kettle, and that's not the sole reason why I have another Thermomix, but I have another one here. Because consultants are really spoiled. So yes, I do have another Thermomix because we do a lot of cooking here, and they are often both going. Not all the time, but often. But yeah, so that's what's happening. I've got the water boiling in the other one. Oh, the other thing I wanted to show you, sorry, while something is cooking, so I've got 3 minutes while this onion is sauteing. So if I want to multitask, I can come press these 3 dots and press the recipe detail so I can scroll down and see what's next. So I can go to the pantry and get my my lentils, my canned tomatoes, and I can use this time to chop up my cherry tomatoes and, just get whatever else. You can also have a look at the nutrition guide and whatever other tips there are about the recipe. So press continue. And I'm just going to look in chat. Yeah, so easy. I just want to just bear with me 2 seconds. Okay, so that just has a minute to go. So to cook spaghetti in your thermo server. So your thermo server is a double insulated stainless steel bowl that keeps your food hot or cold for a couple of hours. So these are really great to have. The only way to get it at the moment is by hosting a cooking experience with a few friends. So basically you're helping us spread the word of the Thermomix to other people. And ordinarily I use this to put dinner in and it stays hot while we're all doing whatever we need to do. But I wanted to show you this cooking of spaghetti. So you put your pasta in and then we're just going to pour boiling water over it and leave it for pretty much the same amount of time as the packet says. So I'll do about 10 minutes. If it's not done in that time, obviously just give it another minute or so, but it usually is pretty good. And then once that's finished, I'll tip it out into my varoma in the sink. So this can act as a colander so that the spaghetti's ready, hopefully similar time to the bolognese. Okay, so this is done. I am going to press next. It smells really good, by the way. So adding in our cherry tomatoes, and I've just cut them in half. Now they must be coming into season because these were really cheap today. And so that's just the other Thermomix with the boiled water. So I will just pause what I'm doing with the bolognese just to tip this in. Nothing too fancy happening here, just tipping in some boiling water. And I'm going to fill it to the top, even though the pasta doesn't really need that much water. But the more you fill, I just saw in chat, the more you fill your server, the hotter it will stay. I'm just giving the pasta a bit of a stir. And then I'll put the lid on and we'll set that aside. So Virginia's saying it's the end of tomato season, which makes sense because I always thought it was an autumn thing. But they were really cheap today for some reason. So I was thinking, bonus, let's do this recipe. It's great. So if cherry tomatoes are too cheap, or if they're just not in season, or you just don't have them, instead of putting in 500 grams of cherry tomatoes, just do another tin of tomatoes or fresh tomatoes. It doesn't matter. But yeah, I've put in 500 grams of cherry tomatoes that I've halved. And now in goes the can of tomatoes. And again, you can use fresh or canned, it doesn't matter. And with this recipe, you can also just put in whatever you normally put into bolognese as well. Like I often put in some Worcestershire sauce and a bit of red wine into my bolognese. So you can definitely do whatever your family does for a normal bolognese. Adapt this recipe to be the flavors that you like. But as I said, tonight I'm following the recipe. Oh, didn't add the lentils. So this is our meat substitute, or our protein basically is our lentils. So it's just a can of brown lentils. I guess you could use like get dried and cook it and like soak it and cook it yourself if you wanted to as well. And then in goes our pesto. And I want to use a spoon for that we made earlier. So very exciting. I'm going to put in 190 grams. I have heard from some people who say if they don't have red pesto at the time, they just leave this out. I think the flavor is really good of having it in, but you know, as I said, everything's variable. So just do what you want to do. It's okay to skip ingredients that you don't want to use. That's totally fine. And some salt. And because I didn't put in the chili flakes, I am also going to put in a little bit of pepper. You could add a bit of stock paste if you wanted to have a bit more of that flavor, but there's definitely enough flavor happening in here without adding stock paste. And there we go to cook it. So it tells me to put the simmer basket on. And we're cooking that for 17 minutes. So we've got our spaghetti cooking in one and our bolognese cooking in the other. And the next step, if you ever want to look ahead just at one next step, there's a preview button up here. So if I just press preview, it's telling me to transfer to a thermo server, cover and keep warm until you're ready to serve it. And you can serve it with just bread or spaghetti or whatever. So that's how easy it is to make lentil bolognese and pesto. I think we've been going about 15 minutes to make both those dishes. Now, ordinarily, I'd be free to leave the kitchen, meaning how easy is dinner tonight? So, but for tonight, what I want to do is show you some things on Cookie Do, just to make sure everyone knows, like, is making the most of this, their Cookie Do platform. I'm trying to make it smaller so you can see it better. So basically, the theme for tonight is what I wanted to do was about saving money, but also showing vegan or vegetarian dishes. So if you don't know what you want to cook, you can browse down on the homepage to see what's new. You can also see what is trending. So if I go down, there's probably a lot of Mother's Day cooking things here. Yeah, there's been some breakfasts happening. Must have been lots of eggs Benedict over the weekend, and yummy desserts. You can also see the latest collections. So here's a great one called Stack Up the Savings, with some really good recipes for saving money. I know a lot of people are being budget conscious at the moment. These are awesome recipes. And the other collection I wanted to show you is called, oh, also just a note, this recipe here, this capsicum sun-dried tomato dip, that's pretty similar to the red pesto we made. So if you were making that dip, you could also use that in this bolognese as well. It's really yummy. The other collection I wanted to show you is called Simply Delicious. It's this collection here. It's all dishes with less than $5 per serve. And that's the recipe that this bolognese that we're doing tonight comes from. But if you want some inspiration on some other budget-friendly recipes, this collection is awesome. And just to show you at the bottom of each recipe, oh, the other thing when you're in a recipe is you can change the serving size. So if you wanted to cut that down to just serve 2 people, you could do that. We are a family of 6, so I'm always upscaling. But you can see here we've got some tags in the recipe. So if you wanted to see other vegetarian recipes, you can just click that tag, or we could have typed vegetarian into the search bar and you can see all the other vegetarian recipes that come up. This vegetarian chili is really yummy. We make that every now and then. Yeah, so many recipes. Once you've found a recipe you're wanting to cook, I just wanted to try, I don't think I've ever tried budget. Yeah, there you go. You can also just type in, these are all the budget vegetarian recipes, or if I take away vegetarian, these are all the budget recipes. So that's kind of cool. Once you find a recipe you're wanting to make, you can press these 3 dots to organize it. So you can bookmark, add to a collection. So these are your own folders. You can add to a day in the week that you're wanting to make that recipe, and also add to shopping list so that you've got it all organized. That's another tag we might want to do. These are all our vegan recipes. I need to put my filter back to English because I took that off a second ago. But yeah, lots of really great vegan recipes as well. And even if you're not vegan, it's really good to introduce different variety of recipes into your diet. So, you know, meat-free Monday, or we do vegetarian probably a few times a week. The kids are happy with that, and I'm happy with that. But yeah, vegan mushroom bowl. Yeah, so there's some really great recipes here. So yeah, let me add this one. If I add another one to my week and add to the shopping list, I'll show you what we can do with that shopping list. So the other great thing about Cookie Do is when you have your meal plan, this is another good vegan recipe with family beans. We had that tonight. Is when you've got your meal plan and your shopping list ready, you can look at the ingredients and it puts them in categories. So I've obviously put in, I need to get rid of this German recipe so you can see what I mean. It puts all the ingredients in categories so that as you're going down the aisle, it's really easy to find your ingredients. And as you put it in the trolley, just tick it off. Tick, tick, tick. But if you don't want to be the one doing the shopping, you can press this order ingredients button and it works with Woolworths online. So it just tells you, it just adds all the ingredients you need for the week into your Woolies cart. And if you don't like the brand they've chosen for you, you can just press the swap button and find the brand you do like, or whatever that may be. So yeah, so you can really save a lot of money by being organized so that you've got less waste and you're only buying what you need. It's kind of estimated that Aussie families throw out about $1,000 worth of groceries each year in just wasted ingredients that they've bought and not used. And obviously that's an average, but that's pretty scary. I don't like that figure. So if you can get organized with Cookie Doo, doing your meal plan and shopping list, you'll be saving money and just cutting out the waste, which is great. The other thing about Cookie Doo is that you can add in your own recipes. So if you go to the My Recipes tab and then go to Created Recipes, here's where you can add in your family favorite recipes. So that they're on your Thermomix screen. So that was a really quick crash course in Cookie Doo. And so to show you where they would be on your screen, if I press home and go into the menu and come into My Recipes, all the recipes that you've organized are here. You've got your bookmarks, your created recipes, that one, and then your folders and your meal plan is here as well. So you can really get very organized and have the guided cooking on your screen step by step. Okay, so we've still got 9 more minutes on the Bolognese, and I want to check the spaghetti because just realized I didn't really look at the time when I put it in, but I'm going to give it a bit of a stir, which is very important because it's not a rolling, it's not, I'm going to try and keep that heating. You know, when you're cooking pasta in the Thermomix bowl or on the stove, the water is moving around. So this just needs a bit of a stir. Okay. So the other thing to let you know at the moment is I hinted earlier about how all the ways Thermomix consultants are spoiled. We have a great offer on at the moment for anyone who wants to join as a Thermomix consultant. You can earn a Thermomix by selling just 4 Thermomixes. So normally it's 6. That's actually a really great reduction. When you earn a Thermomix by being a consultant, basically the idea is that you're spending your time instead of spending your money on your new TM6. So yeah, selling 4 instead of 6 is just a really great reduction in that. And then after you've sold those and earned your Thermomix, you can either stop because you've earned it and that was your goal, or you can stay on as a consultant and earn commission for your next however many sales while you are a consultant. So the other great thing is after 3 sales, you can earn our cutter attachment and blade cover peeler. And after 6 sales, you can earn a whole second bowl set so that we've got 2 that you can switch in and out so that you can be super efficient while you are cooking in your Thermomix. It is really awesome to have 2 bowls. And if you're not wanting to be a consultant and you want a second bowl, we have another great offer on this month only. If you host a cooking experience with at least 2 friends, you can get a host reward, which if someone purchases a Thermomix from your event, you can get that second bowl set for $99. It's usually $375. So that's a really big saving and just a great offer that we have on just in May. So if you're interested, please reach out to your consultant because we can get something booked in. It could be online or it could be in person in your home. But either way, you'll still be able to access that host reward. If you don't get someone who purchases a Thermomix within the 2 weeks after your demo, you still have access to other great host rewards as well. So definitely reach out to your consultant so that we can get you organized with that. Okay, so I had just paused the recording there for a few seconds while this finished cooking, or a few minutes, sorry. But yeah, that's the end of our bolognese. So if I get rid of the simmer basket, I can show you how it looks. Actually, before I tip it out, it's always good to just give it a little stir and make sure you're happy with the result, which I am. So you can see it makes quite a bit. I don't know if you can see. I don't want to tip it on my laptop, but you can see like almost 2 liters of bolognese here out of those ingredients. When I'm tipping something into my thermoserver that I don't want to splash, I often just try and tip it onto my spatula first, so it's got less to fall, and then it just goes in a lot nicer. I know, especially with soup. It's definitely something I do when pouring soup into my server is have my spatula ready in my other hand. And there we go. Beautiful lentil bolognese. I want to show you this texture. It's like, and it's got the pieces of tomato in big. So again, if you wanted those to be more crushed, put in smaller pieces. But I love it with those cherry tomatoes in there. I think it looks great and the texture is really good. I wish you could all try it so that you could see, but you'll just have to trust me that this is definitely worth trying as an alternative to normal meat bolognese. It's even too hot for me to try, but just trust me, this is a beautiful bolognese, and no one need know there is no meat if you're trying to fool someone. But for those who are already meat-free minded, they will love this. It's really great. So let me set that aside and show you the spaghetti. So this has been just sitting in the very hot water, and because the thermoserver keeps the water very boiling, it's done a good job of cooking it. So I am just going to tip it into my Varoma, so just bear with me. I've got my Varoma in my sink next to me. Just so I can show you. I think that's good, trying to drain it all out. So that's our spaghetti all nicely cooked in the thermoserver at the same time while the bolognese was cooking. So there you have it. Very simple, very easy. Just over half an hour of the Thermomix's time to make a red pesto, a lentil bolognese, and to have spaghetti cooking in the server at the same time. And most of the time I'm just standing around chatting to you all. So thank you for being on. If you have any questions about the Thermomix, please reach out to either your consultant or myself. I will be sending an email tomorrow with the recording and the links to the recipes. But yeah, I'll just hit end record, and then if anyone has any other questions, please feel free to ask me. Have a good night.